Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to the channel and welcome as always to our coffee times to talk about movies. Especially in this channel we love to talk about horror as well, but today I'm here to let you know everything that I watched in the month of November.
It's coffee time!
So the month of November was actually not that bad. I managed to watch a couple of things and I just wanted, like every month, to sit down and talk to you about the things that I watched, what rating I gave them, and just have like a little talk. As always, we are going to check my Letterboxd account and see what I watched. Let's scroll back all the way to the 1st of November. Alright, so the first thing that I watched in November, we went to the movies to watch two movies. We first started with Black Adam, which honestly I was not extremely excited about, even though, you know, I do like to watch the DC movies. For some reason I had really low expectations for this movie and I found it quite entertaining. To be honest, I think part of why I really enjoyed this movie is I really love to see the background story of this superhero. I really loved all of the more kind of sentimental aspect of the film, and I also did enjoy to see the other superheroes that popped up during the film. So I ended up loving it more than I expected, so I do recommend you guys to go and give it a shot. But then that same day afterwards, after Black Adam, we went to watch Amsterdam. Now, part of why I wanted to watch this film was because of the cast. It has Margot Robbie, it has Christian Bale, and it has Anya Taylor-Joy. So I was like, you know, this is such a great cast. Even though this is not the type of film that I would normally watch, I want to see it. And I was so bored. I was at the verge of falling asleep in the cinema, I'm not gonna lie, because this was kind of boring. In the 1930s, three friends, a nurse, a doctor, and an attorney, witness a murder, and now they kind of have to flee in order not to be accused for this murder. And it's really interesting because they are trying to uncover something bigger, a bigger mystery. And to be honest, I don't know what it was. I cannot really pinpoint if it was, I think most of it was the pacing and the way the story was told, that it was extremely boring to me. So I was not invested at all. By like the halfway mark I was already out of the film. So this one's one that I would not recommend. After that, I watched a Spanish documentary, Where is Marta? It is a true story about a girl that disappeared, and even though people were found out guilty for the murder, her body was never recovered. And I really did enjoy this one, and it really does show how shitty the police work was in this case. And every true crime story that I can find about Spain, I will watch it, because some of these things I remember seeing them in television growing up. I remember the cases and they are really interesting to me. Of course, they are true crime stories from my motherland. So I really do recommend this one if you guys love like disappearances, true crime stories like that. Then I watched Run Sweetheart Run. I found this one on Amazon Prime and the premise sounded interesting to me, almost similar, you know, to these kind of more feminist movies like Men, but it was supposed to be a bit more fun. It's a movie about a woman that kind of ends up going to a work meeting that turns up more into a date instead of just a work meeting, and she meets this guy that seems to be, you know, so nice, and she is desperate to date again after being a single mother, and she takes a chance to kind of hang out with him and prolong the date, and turn the business meeting into a date. But things start to go really wrong really quickly, and she realizes that this guy is not good. The thing with this movie is that I feel like the way that it was presented didn't really bring the message across as good as it could have. This is more of a horror thriller, and I feel like there are moments of tension and there are moments kind of even of humor. So it's kind of like a weird mix of tones throughout the whole film. I would still recommend you guys to give it a shot if you have it also for free like I do on Amazon Prime, and see what you think of it. I mean, I think for a one-time watch it is an interesting enough horror thriller. After that one, I watched another documentary on Netflix. This one is called State of Alabama versus Brittany Smith. I didn't love this one as much as I did the other one that I watched because it felt a little bit more one-sided. So this is a story about a woman that claims to have killed someone on self-defense. The case is really messy, and they try their best in the documentary to explain it to you, but I still feel like it was not a complete documentary. I didn't feel like fulfilled. I didn't feel like I really got everything from the story from all different angles, so it was not as good as I expected. Then I finally watched the movie Complay. I have been meaning to watch this movie since it came out, and I never really got around to it, so I finally did. And I have kind of mixed feelings about it because there were so many good things about the film, but then it also relayed in so many horror tropes that sometimes I was like, you could have done something a little bit better with the good story that you had. So it is about this kid that has autism, and he has trouble communicating with other kids, and he makes a new friend that he finds in a book. So this friend that he finds in the book, he's just looking for someone, a good true friend, and he focuses on the kid that is a lonely kid, and it's is an easy target for this entity, let's say. So the family at the beginning doesn't take it seriously, but then they soon realize that this supernatural creature might be more real than they think, and they might all be in danger. So there's many good things about it. I really did like the concept of this creature from a book, and a creature that attaches to you if you're lonely, if you're looking for a friend. But like I said, there's so many horror tropes in the movie that I felt like they could have done a better job. After that, I watched a documentary that I was kind of hesitant to watch because of all the backlash when it came out, but I thought since I have it now on HBO here, I would just give it a shot, and that is What Happened to Brittany Murphy. So Brittany Murphy was an actress that I really liked growing up, and she had a really tragic death that was a little bit weird and kind of unexplainable. And this documentary goes a little bit through what happened, but the problem is that they focus a lot more on her husband and on him, and I don't feel like it does justice to her story. So I feel like that is why a lot of people didn't enjoy it as much, and I totally understand why. There was only like one person they interviewed that I felt like was actually saying a lot of truth, and that is an actress that worked with Brittany Murphy, and the rest, they really annoyed me. So after that, I watched Pray for the Devil. We went to the movies for this one, and I do have a spoiler-free review. It is basically a kind of, they're trying to make a new take on the exorcism genre, and they're trying to bring the first female exorcist. That it's something that the church had never allowed before. So our main character is a nurse at a school for priests that are becoming exorcists, and she is really interested in learning the job of being an exorcist, and she gets involved with it. And even though this movie tried to do something different, I feel like it didn't work. There are some nice scenes, obviously, some tropes that you will see from other Exorcist movies, like some things are taken straight out from The Exorcist, and there's a couple of things that they've tried to do like fresh and new, but at the end of the day, it wasn't as good as I expected. Then I watched Terrifier 2, which has been such a bliss. I also have a spoiler-free review of this one, and honestly, Terrifier 2 was so much fun. Now, you already probably know, you've heard of Terrifier and Terrifier 2, you probably already know by this point that you're not gonna enjoy this movie if you don't like full-on gore on your face, like daylight gore, extreme torture, mutilation. If you don't like that, this is not gonna be the movie for you. What I find charming about Terrifier is Art the Clown, the character, the villain that we follow, who is kind of like a psychopath, and we don't exactly know why yet, why he does the things he does. But you know, don't expect like a huge plot, huge character development. This is more a movie just to have fun and enjoy some gore. And after Terrifier 2, I watched Pearl, which was another one of my most anticipated movies. And honestly, I really enjoy it. I feel like Mia Goth deserves an Oscar. Her performance here was absolutely amazing, astounding. I loved her in this film. Now, this movie has a lot more of a slow pacing than X, even though X does have a slow pacing until we start getting to the good bits. And I felt like the deaths in Pearl were a little bit more toned down, like they were more specific and chosen kills, and it was not as bloody and gory as X might have been. But I still really love to discover the background story of Pearl and what made her what she is and portrays in X. I would say if you've seen X and you really enjoyed it, you need to give Pearl a try, because it is great to really see everything that she had to go through that made her into this crazy old woman that we meet in X. Apart from that, the visuals are absolutely amazing. The cinematography is as good as in X. It's just that they're using more Technicolor colors here, and they are portraying this world with more vibrancy. After that, I was trying to watch some movies in Amazon Prime that were going to leave Prime, that were not high on my priority list or anything, but I always look for the movies that are leaving Prime, and sometimes I just give them a watch before they leave. One of those was Two Hearts. I wanted to watch it because I do like Jacob Elordi. I've really enjoyed his character in Euphoria, even though he's a dick. So I wanted to see what other things he's done. And this is kind of a drama film. It's really intense. It's about two people that are connected. Their lives are connected by an illness that they suffer. And it was quite interesting to see how they put the movie together. But all in all, it was just one of those movies that you see on TV, and it's just okay. So after that, I watched the amazing, fantastic The Menu. 100% recommend, you guys. This is another one that is a thriller, but with a lot of horror aspects to it. And it's about a bunch of strangers that have reserved a table at a very expensive restaurant in a remote island, where the menu is going to be very special and unique. So it is really expensive to get a table at this restaurant, and the chef is a really well-known chef that creates these beautiful, you know, menus, and the movie takes you through every course of the menu and explains to you what it means, and you can see how they're doing the food. It's quite interesting, but soon they will realize that there is another purpose why they are in that restaurant that specific night. The acting is absolutely fantastic. Ralph Fiennes is amazing. The way that he can tell the story just with like minimal facial expression changes, it's just wonderful to see. And of course we have Anya Taylor-Joy, which you guys know I love. So this was just amazing. Totally recommend. After The Menu, I watched a couple of movies that were leaving Prime, like I've mentioned before. One of those was Fallen. Not much I have to say about this one. It was absolutely bad. It's kind of Twilight, but with angels and demons. That's how I'm gonna pitch it to you. It was not good, but I'm glad, you know, I have it behind me now, and I know I'm never gonna watch this ever again. And after that, I watched The Hollow, which is a movie that I was always interested in because of the cast. And I knew it was not going to be a great movie, but it's also based on the legend of Sleepy Hollow, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give it a chance. So it is about, you know, a small town that is really involved in the legend of Sleepy Hollow, and every year for Halloween they put up like a play about it, and they do kind of like a tour through the woods and stuff, and they try to scare people with a guy playing the Headless Horseman. But of course, because we are in a horror movie, the real Headless Horseman is gonna show up and start killing people. That's basically what it is. And, you know, I thought I wanted to give it a try because the cast has Nick Carter and Kaylee Cuoco in it. And I was like, I need to see this mix. I need to see what's going on here. And I was shocked I had never seen this movie before. It's from 2004. But yeah, I mean, for a one-time slasher fan, it was okay. So after that, I watched a documentary that I was really interested in, which is Capturing the Killer Nurse. And it is the story about this man that was a nurse, and he kept killing people, and he would change from one hospital to the next and nobody would like blink an eye. They would just let him go, just not to be kind of confronted with any legal issues. They would just let him go. He would go to the next hospital, he would do the same thing, and he went unpunished for a really long time. So I thought the documentary was really well put together and really good. And after that, of course, I immediately watched The Good Nurse, which is a movie based on that specific true crime story. And it was really good. I feel like part of why the movie was also so excellent was because of the cast, because we have Jessica Chastain and Eddie Redmayne, and they were fantastic in their roles. And it was really good for me to see, you know, the comparison between how the documentary told the story and how the movie told the story, which was pretty good and faithful. There were some changes that obviously need to be made when you are telling a story, even if it's a true crime. But if you're turning it into a movie, there's always certain things that you need to change and adjust. But I really enjoyed both. So if you like true crime stories, I would recommend you to watch both the documentary and the movie. And after that, I watched Crimes of the Future and I did not love it. Sorry. David Cronenberg is either a hit or a miss for me. I love some of his classics, you know, like The Fly or Scanners. Obviously, I like The Dead Zone and I also enjoyed Rabbit, but then there's other movies that I just can't, they're just not for me. It is also really weird to explain this film. It's basically, we are in a future in which the human body is now able to produce extra organs, and some people use that and mutilate their bodies to remove those organs. It's just really weird. It's really creepy, and like I said, this was not exactly my cup of tea. And my partner didn't enjoy this movie at all. I'm sorry I have to put him through some misery sometimes, because he mostly watches all the movies that I watch. And the very last movie that I watched in November is another movie that was Living Prime, and I kind of was interested in it, but I know it didn't have really good reviews, and now I know why. And that is House at the End of the Street, which was kind of a big disappointment for me. I was still kind of hoping to enjoy the movie, to be honest. It is about a mother and a daughter that don't have the best relationship to begin with, and they move to a new house just to find out that in the neighbor's house they used to live a little girl that murdered her parents. And of course the daughter has to become friends with the surviving son of these parents, and that's where things start to go a little bit downhill. You already know something's going on, something's not kosher. But I feel like this movie was so, you know, how can I put it? Like, it was disappointing in the sense that I thought they were gonna build up a really cool story with a really cool twist, and it was just not. It was so flat to the very end, predictable. It was just not good. Then I watched a documentary that I could not find on Letterboxd, but that is Vatican Girl. And that one was so interesting to me. If you're interested in true crimes and religion and, you know, the Pope and things like that, the Vatican, you should definitely check this one out. It is so interesting and it raises up so many questions about conspiracy theories. So if you like those kind of things, this is gonna be for you. I thought it was extremely interesting and it provided a lot of information that was so fascinating. And of course, in the month of November, I watched Wednesday. I binged it. I loved it. I feel like they did a really good job, and for me, as somebody that loved Christina Ricci as Wednesday, and she was my Wednesday and will always be, I really did enjoy how Jenna Ortega played the character. I felt like they have done the needed to move it to a more modern public, so that now the kids can relate to the character, so that, you know, the kids can find a new Wednesday. And I really loved it. You know, I'm not gonna complain about any of the changes because sometimes they are needed to bring it to wider audiences. And I feel like this is a TV show that you can watch as a family as well, and it is entertaining. It is a lot more focused on the character on Wednesday instead of the whole family as the 90s movies were. But you know, I'm not complaining because Wednesday was always my favorite character. She's my spirit animal and I love her, so I'm really excited to see what season 2 will bring us. Alright guys, so this is everything that I watched in the month of November. Let me know down below what you thought and what is the best thing that you were able to see in November. Let's talk about it in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching and I hope to see you all in our next coffee time. Bye!